glowing goal, diagonal decisions, oppressive ecstasy, prescription stripes, blue for longing, the granite keeps the score, and finally, deep end.
Whenever we talk about public transport and the subway, we're all the time exploring these topics with researchers, engineers, and people who have a lot of data and insights about these topics. However, do you think that we can forget about all the technical aspects and try to explore the artistical domain and approach, and maybe in that way we can find some other values that we haven't thought about? Well, in this episode we're going to explore these topics with the artist Gilles Hellemans. He is a Brussels-based artist, and through multidisciplinary approach, he is exploring and observing architecture, public space, and urban design. Let's see what he has prepared for us. So as you know, on our channel, we are all the time talking about the social impact of architecture, public spaces, hostel architecture, hostel urban design, gentrification, urbanization, and all that stuff. When we saw this exhibition of Gilles over here, it resonated with us, this critique about hostel architecture. I don't know if that's the point, what he wants to say about it. And then the video, the material that we saw it talks a lot about the psychology of the subway spaces. Well, this resonated with us a lot, and let's explore if we're on the right direction, and let's see what's actually going on over here with this exhibition called Undergo. Welcome to our channel. Can you please just give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Yes, so I'm Gilles Hellemans. I'm a visual artist and a performer based here in Brussels.
You are a little bit with some architectural background, I think.
I did a little bit of architecture in high school, but actually I'm trained as a visual artist, performer, more in installation art, video works, painting, drawing, a multidisciplinary artist.
Very nice, very nice. We have seen some of your photos. They are also very intriguing to us in stripping architecture. So the major question, let's start and reveal and unpack this thing over here. What is actually Undergo?
So undergoing, the title for me has several layers. First of all, it's about the actual going underground, this experience of descending down, being in a space underground that is completely artificial, where you have kind of going into a kind of maquette that is underground, and where we are temporarily kind of staying for a while to take the subway. And at the same time, undergoing is also about the experience of being in these spaces, because they are often spaces that we don't really want to stay. We want to go from point A to B. We want to be fast about it. We want to be distracted by phones, music. So undergoing is about this friction. And then, the show is what I propose is to do the opposite, to look at these spaces, to spend time in these spaces, to look at the materials, to look at the structure.
Interesting. So, speaking for yourself, do you like undergoing or you don't like undergoing?
I think it depends. If I'm going from point A to B myself, sometimes I don't, but in general, I really do like spending time in these spaces, because I think especially the metro stations and pre-metro stations in Brussels, there's a lot of beauty in them, in the colors, in the rhythms, in the tiles, and in the patterns. And I think they're really enjoyable to watch, which doesn't mean I'm not ignoring the fact that they can be very uncomfortable for several reasons. But in my role as a visual artist, I'm proposing to look at them from a different angle,
Yeah. What was very interesting in the beginning, you have shown to us that, well, I like it very much. Like for different kind of stations, you are giving certain kind of word or sentence or phrase that explains these stations in a different way. And I think it describes a little bit more about the psychological aspect, how we perceive these spaces. Why this metro line?
It's actually because the exhibition we're in now is in Piano Fabrik, and so they make this invitation to make an exhibition in this space. And for me, it was a nice way to link to the commune we're in. We're in Saint-Gilles. And so basically, I decided to work with all underground spaces, metro stations of Saint-Gilles. That's why I worked with this line. But I've worked with other lines in Brussels before as well.
All right, I didn't know.
I actually have two books. They're called, now I forgot the title. So they're actually two books that I made that follow, one is following Metro Line 2 and 6 and the other 1 and 5. And they're also, every station of that line I've given a different name. And in the first book, there is an index of all the materials that were present in those stations at that time. So the tiles, the colors, items. And in the second book, I got off at every station and I made like a frottage of the tiles. So it's this technique where you put a paper on a surface and you
trace it like
with a graphite pencil. So in a way, they're also, I see them as a kind of artistic archaeology and a different way that you can travel through these metro stations. You can either do it at home or you can do it on the metro and look at them in a different way. Maybe the tiles will have changed by the time.
I would love to see them and we'll post them here. I wanted to ask you because to me, I thought that, I don't know, just to give the context, that this line, if you get in the metro car on this line in subway and you follow it, and if you get and you ride on this line, you can see a lot of demographic change of people. For example, if you go from the South Station towards the Louisa, you will see how you have like big diversity, low income, maybe middle class, and slowly changing towards middle class. And then we come to Louisa where we have, let's say, high upper income people. Is there a relation with this, something in your work? And how these spaces, same spaces, are communicated to different groups of people in the city?
I mean, it's definitely something that that comes back in the naming of the stations. For example, the Glow and Go, Louisa, it's the moment where we arrive into the shopping street. There is the luxurious tiles. The metro seats are glowy. There's actually a funny anecdote.
There is marble on the walls.
There's marbles on the walls. And there's actually a funny anecdote. When I wanted to film in this metro station, the day I arrived, there was a huge IKEA commercial covering the entire texture of the metro station. So completely exemplifying my glow and go moments. I mean, I decided to not film it because
very suitable. It will be a commercial for whatever.
No.
Yeah, but that
and of course, it goes back. For example, in South Station, oppressive ecstasy. I mean, there the tension is also, it's double because it's oppressive because of the, how the ceiling is pressing down, and but at the same time there's the ecstasy. I mean, of course, for several reasons, but the main reason for me is because of the excitement that I get from the use of colors and from the choices that were made. But of course, there's the duality with it being oppressive and
yeah. I have to congratulations on the naming because for someone, we're working in StA&x architecture on trying to give short phrases to make it more simple, and it's a hard job for us. We find it very hard. And here you find like a couple of words, and I think for me, I see a lot of thinking about them. I don't know, maybe for you it was a quick decision, but we were talking with Mohammed, like we have a proposal, like, how today you have this, we're advocating for temporary female names of the streets and stations just to give symbolism that are not represented in the public space. And I was thinking like how great would be if you can put for each station this kind of metaphorical name, and just this lasts for 1 month a year in Brussels. And just like we ride and you don't think about Lisa, you just glow and go. You know, you have the South Station, and even it will be great if you have the conductor. Okay, we just arrived at oppressive ecstasy. Enjoy your time. In your video, we have seen a lot of places where you have like in certain positions, you have your very remarkable was this orange suit, having a lollipop for a long time, consuming this lollipop very with taking the time about it, and also like holding the rose. If we can just like this straightforward dive into the artist's mind, what is this symbolizing to you? Like what you want to suggest with these 3 elements?
So for this specific show, I focused on the 7 metro and pre-metro stations of Saint Gilles, and the 3 examples you proposed. The lollipop with red and white was made for Portajal, where you have this beautiful red and white rhythm on the wall. The orange is this kind of maintenance suit. It's also a figure that I work with a lot, this kind of maintenance figure taking care of architectural space. And I chose to only work on the orange floor because that's the one that speaks the most to me. And what other? The rose. Yeah, the rose is also there. But so in every station, there is kind of a gesture or a prop, and I see them as kind of as love letters. So they're a way for me to kind of reveal the stations to the viewer who comes and watch the video, and to kind of highlight their aesthetic. And so yeah, the rose was maybe me potentially waiting for someone, or maybe I'm offering the rose to the station to thank it for its
service.
Yeah. And the lollipop is it's also this thing of I'm not leaving the station. I'm not going in the station and I open my lollipop and I get on the metro. No, I'm going in the space and I'm taking the time to eat my lolly because it's about the enjoyment of a space that we normally don't stay in to enjoy. It's a different rhythm that I want.
You really kind of want to add an aspect of staying in these places and not just transitioning and moving. Interesting, just to ask you, like now, as in all other cities, subways are reflected with a lot of tunnels, as you say, undergoing. And in many other cities, you have even deeper tunnels. Like you have like this in Istanbul, in Taksim, you have like very long, deep. You have in Ukraine. There are also in the Soviet era, they were used like a bomb shelters. Brussels doesn't really have these like big, deep subway stations, but there's definitely a lot of drilling in the land has been done in the 60s and 70s. Do you find it not hostile, but do you find it uninviting and a little bit, intimidating?
I mean, I think they definitely can be intimidating, especially because there is the component of them, a lot of them not being in a very good state. They're like in a state of not well taken care of, broken tiles. So I think this can look scary or something. But what I really, but this is also me from my specific
Yes. That's we need that
artistic view. What I really like is that when you are in these tunnels, it's almost like a certain state of mind. Like you're in this kind of darkness. And then after the darkness, there is this rhythm and this appearance of these stations. And the way I also show them in the video work, there's this, this appearing of colors, of rhythm, of almost, when you're a kid and you used to make these kind of shoe boxes out of cardboard and you make like a hole, you look inside the box. For me, it's a bit this. So it's scary to look at because it's kind of dark, but then you make it all pretty and there's an excitement about it.
But sometimes you have this not good predictability of like you don't see the end of the tunnel, and it can be very trapping. Sometimes you have to go too deep inside these metro stations in order just to take transport in the other day, just to do something common thing. And I see on your side that maybe we can animate this or make it like, okay, if we have this whole space, let's just make it give another value to it.
I think this is, I mean, of course, I'm aware of the hostility that can be experienced in these spaces and of the kind of controlling panopticon feel that you can also experience there. But yeah, I think you said it really well. For me, it's not ignoring the fact that is presence. It's more, showing a way to enjoy these spaces and maybe a way that they can open up, or there can be another layer. Of course, if everybody starts dressing in a white t-shirt with a red stripe, it's not going to solve the problem of security. But it's, I'm an artist, not a politician.
Of course. Yeah. I think it brings
An introduction to a conversation.
Yeah. And do you like public transport? Do you like being on it? Do you?
I mean, I like the rhythm of being on public transport. I like kind of the feeling of being taken for a journey and just looking. I'm often without a
Same here.
I'm often without a phone, without headphones. I like taking the bus that takes the long route.
No, that's like same. Like no matter like there is sometimes like there's like issues with how efficient the metro and the subway and the public transport in Brussels is. But to be honest, like when I take it, to me, it's a mediation a little bit. I really, as you said, and that's why I find it interesting. Like, for example, you have some worry and you have to go from home to the office and you have some worry and you're thinking about it and you're all the time like, and then, like same like taking the plane, they say like when I go with and fly with a plane, I'll have internet and I cannot worry about it, anything, and just look at the clouds. I do the same in the metro, like, okay, for these 20 minutes, I will forget about this worry and I will just look at the people. I love, look, it's like a theater to me. I don't know. I'm not like, it really relaxes me. And then you go out from, if there was no some really excessive problem, but majorly you go out of it and you're like, oh, now I recharge my batteries now I'll worry again. Now I'll get back to the problem. And right now, so we are making this interview on this structure. I think it was created by you.
Or I'm wrong. But I worked together with friend Alexander Pfeifenberger. So I came with a proposition. It's a sculpture or an idea of a sculpture that I've been working on for quite some time, I think since 2018. It's this idea of the metro bench with one seat, not because I want to be rude to people, but it's to exemplify this idea of alienation and this idea of solitude that we have in public space, but to kind of, to exemplify it and to make this feeling bigger, I put one seat, so to kind of clarify it. And I used to make these sculptures out of cardboard and tape. And then I made this bench out of metal and with an actual chair that StA&x offered me for the first time in 2 or 3 years ago for this project that is called Blue Bench Sessions, that is still existing in Anderlecht at the moment. And so for this sculpture as well, I wanted to make it a way to look at the video work, but at the same time also that you could sit down and you could have this feeling of like, okay, why am I so far away? Why is this solitude? What is this weird feeling of being distant from another person? That's kind of what I want the audience experience or to engage with. And then there is also the sound piece, which is actually all metro sounds that I have recorded over the year. Also with school children that I work with through Music Belgium. And They help me record natural sounds as well. And yeah, it's kind of like a soundscape to bring you in the atmosphere of the underground, but with like an extra little layer that makes it more magic.
But I see like the presentation of lost opportunity. Like you have this big bar, so much support, so much structure, and then you find a couple of chairs. And very often that's what we see in the metro stations. How do you see, according to you, I want to ask you, do you see some potential in the subway to become a place where it can host and be hospitable for certain group of people, especially those who are not powerful and financially vulnerable?
I mean, there is definitely, I think this is also the thing. This is the suggestion of this lowly chair. It's like, it's beautiful to look at and it's aesthetic and it's kind to portray it. But yeah, the proposition of this work is like, why are we doing it this way? And it's funny that you said this thing about suggestion, because together with Alexander Pfeifenberger, who helped me weld the structure, we came up with this solution that actually, if I ever wanted to, we can place a seat on every spot on each part. So it works as a whole.
I see.
Yeah.
There is a whole touch montage, like
yeah. I mean, this would still be, because you could never sleep.
Yeah.
Seats, but there is a suggestion of that.
Yeah. Like, for example, we have seen and spotted, and one day we'll make a YouTube about it, there's many wasted spaces and corners, especially under the stairs, and these are really bordered, and I'll show this in the video. They're like fenced, and they're like, we've been wondering, there is so much heat energy being captured inside this, and really, especially for the winter when there's like the rough months, we have like so much heat coming from the subway station, from the bakeries there, and it's warm, and this warmth just goes away. Like, can we maybe really create spaces where this warmth can be used really for those who it happens? Some people don't have where to lay down and to stay warm during the winter months, at least. Like, do you see potential where this kind of idea of yours, like let's make it a space for staying and meditation, maybe? Can we make it for everyone? Like, to be like, if you go down there, you're going in this other reality where the laws from the above of the surface are not anymore applied, and you can stay, you can sleep, and you can eat, and you can be warm, and you can enjoy, you can relax, and okay, it cannot be a silent box, but imagine we use it as the therapy space for the city. Is that something that you want to associate with your work? I mean, I'm just exploring here, but does it resonate with you, this, to make the subway like a big therapy space?
I think it's a great proposition.
I mean, I love it,
But I mean, do I want to? I mean, I think it's for sure. I mean, I couldn't not relate to what you just said, or this proposition. Like, it's in the work. It's what it's. I can't find the words, but it's what it suggested, that it's, of course it relates to this. Of course it relates to lost spaces not being used, and to. So yeah, let's do it.
Yes, let's. So here, I mean, this, you just inspired me. I didn't know it's gonna go here, to be honest, but this is very good, because we also have an idea, and probably will help us with this. And you have to stay tuned about this. And I will propose this idea to you. For example, we've been thinking since long time ago, since ancient times, laying on the ground in the cities. You have in the old cities, and okay, it was different kind of political context, economic, but laying on the public space was not a taboo. When you see a person in the horizontal position, today we're freaking out. Oh my God, they're poor. You can lay in the parks, and you can lay on the specifically designed places. But why we're freaking out when we see a horizontal body on the ground? I mean, we are completely like, I will be attacked by, I understand, like, different people have I would like to make an experiment, and I didn't know that you need permissions from the public transport company, but to just make a little mattress or make a setup as a room, invite people to sit and to lay, and just like, to maybe, or just like we lay down and like, is it odd for you? And to question people, I don't know, you can help us with this, but why we are so afraid? What do you think? And this, we can conclude with this, like, are we afraid from seeing people laying in the public spaces, especially in the transport hubs and so on? And can we improve this?
It's funny because the material you see here on the floor, it's this typical kind of metro floor.
Yes, exactly.
Floor. And I brought a piece of this material also to the classroom, and the kids were touching, and it was very enjoyable. But then we went together to the metro stations, and I brought these carpets that I always use in the classroom as well to gather the kids around. And I thought, okay, this is a great way to kind of accommodate this situation with the kids. Like, okay, it's going to be weird for them to sit on the floor in a public space. I'm going to bring my carpets, and that way we can be close to the floor. And it was the weirdest thing because everybody who passed by, like, you get this weird look. There is kids sitting on the floor in a metro station. And I mean, I assured it was a very clean metro station and there was nothing gross on the floor.
It's not a child abuse.
Good children were harmed during these classes. But I was thinking about this contradiction a lot that you just proposed when I was sitting there with the kids. It's like, why is it so weird for us to sit here? It is this relation to metro stations being gross, being dirty, being not comfortable spaces to be in. And I think it is due to the negligence of the structures, of the surfaces that are slowly breaking down, and of the maintenance. Yeah. And that brings it also to the fact, like, why do people who don't are so fortunate enough to have a home, why do they use these spaces? It's exactly for this reason, because the people who have spaces don't want to use these spaces. So it's a free space, it's a public space that is up for grabs. So
yeah, exactly. This like inspired me just to finish this thought that when you said about children sitting on the ground in the metro, and so some schools it happened to me, like there is the teachers and the nurseries, I don't know how to say it, they come inside the metro, the metro car with a bunch of kids. And some of them, they have this regulation, but for safety, they have to sit down so the metro doesn't shake. And like, and all of the kids like sat down, and there was, in many of the people around who were surrounding the kids, they were like, this is like awkward look, like how they're allowing these kids to sit on the floor. To many of them were like happy. When you see children, people were happy, but the second thought was like, oh, they're sitting on the floor. But this was a safety choice in that moment. Like there is nothing more safety than you come inside and you put the children down so they don't like. And when they saw it, I was like, oh wow, like I've never seen a child sitting okay, of course it's dirty, but there is potential here for that, and this inspires us for that, and maybe we can collaborate in future and explore these things and maybe really make this. I like this thing, for example, a subway station, a common therapy room for the city. You're very good, very good. Well, Gilles, thank you, Gilles.
Yeah, you're saying it right.
So I will repeat it. So, well, Gilles, thank you very much for the interview. I think we have like emerged with a lot of new ideas, and we need people like you so we can dive deeper in this kind of abstract, strange places. We can, with a little backpack, grab a lot of inspiration and come back to reality and unleash them in our world.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for having this interview. It was great fun.
Thank you very much for staying tuned with us.
Well, that was the interview for today. Hopefully you liked it. And as always, let's finish up this video with one of our reflection sketches. As you can see on this illustration over here, we have imagined this beautiful building that serves as a transport hub. This building is actually the entrance towards the subway spaces of the metro. On the exterior of this building, you can see different closets and wardrobes that serves as a function for storing the clothes of the people, so you can put your clothes and stuff there and get inside the metro in a relaxed manner. At the same time, In the surrounding of this building, you can see how people are dragging along with themselves a big prison balls that are chained on their legs. These are actually the personification of all the problems people are dragging along during the day. But if you look a bit deeper, on front of the entrance of this metro station, you can see there are a couple of prison balls that are left alone. This metaphor is the result of the inspiration we had with this artist, Gilles Hellemans, and his exposition Undergoing. What if we transfer and we transform the spaces of the subway from spaces of stress and chaos into spaces for relaxation? What if these spaces can serve as a public therapy room, where you can leave all your problems on front of the metro in the terranean world, and you can dive deep in these open, beautiful spaces as a moment of silence and relaxation, harmony and rethinking about your day, recharging your batteries, going back on the surface level and continuing with your day. Just imagine, there is potential in this. Well, that was it for today. Thank you very much for staying tuned. As always, subscribe, share, comment, become our Patreon and subscribe to get all these beautiful reflection sketches in your mailbox. And as always, this is our beautiful book, The Urban Revolution, The Fun Sketch. You can find different ways of how to get this book in the links in the description, and stay tuned till the next time. Bye bye.